Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Red Tool House. Man, I'm excited today. Do you remember as a kid on Christmas morning when you'd come downstairs and your folks had the stuff all laid out and you saw the gift you've always wanted and you just got so excited you couldn't stand yourself? Yeah, I'm experiencing a little bit of that today. This is what showed up last night. This thing is a monster. This doesn't get your fire burning and your wood's wet. So my buddy Josh, he had his guys deliver this dozer last night. They brought it in about 10 p.m. last night and dropped it off. This thing looks brand new. In fact, I'm a little scared to run it in the woods because I hate to knock any of the paint off of it, but this is a gorgeous dozer. This thing is a Cadillac. To be honest with you, I've never run anything this big or this nice, and I really feel inadequate actually. I wish I had more experience in running the dozer because I feel I'm not going to be able to truly take advantage of all the benefits that this thing's going to offer. But it's got a digital dash, it's got air conditioning, it's got a massive winch on the back of it. This thing is huge. So, needless to say, I'm a little stoked. We're gonna have fun. Opening up some roads, clearing out some things here, just trying to get some of the maintenance things, accessibility in our property opened up again. Again, for those of you new to the channel, just real quick, our valley, 100 acres, is a West Virginia valley, what you may have referred to as a holler. So we have a lot of roads back that change, dramatic elevations and things. So there's a lot of things that's going on there, and we just want to get those opened up again. It's been 17 years since those roads were originally cut when we had the place timbered. So we've had some washouts, we've had some slips. We're going to take advantage of this piece of equipment and hopefully open up some of those. So it'd be an absolute tragedy if I didn't give a shout out to Josh and thank him so much for this dozer. Again, there's no way in the world I could have brought something this big in. It just would not have made financial sense. So I appreciate him doing that. But Josh and 3 of his friends have a really cool YouTube channel they've put together. It's called The Untamed. And if you're into hunting at all, if you like anything from whitetail to turkey to bear to big game hunting, these guys do it all. If it's in season, then they're hunting it. And they've just launched a new channel. It's been out for a couple months. Really got some good footage. Their videography is top notch. In fact, there's Josh, Kirk, Trace, and Jay. And I believe some of the guys, I believe Kirk has had experience with major outdoor networks, shooting and editing, post-production. So he's got some experience in it, and it really shows in their video quality. It really makes, my video quality look like, look like some 2-bit used car salesman commercial. So check them out. I'm going to link in the description below, but also I'll post a link to the channel right here. It's called The Untamed. Go check it out. Again, if you like anything hunting, man, these guys got it going on. They just finished up the turkey season for West Virginia. We have a spring season and pretty exciting footage. All right, let's blaze some trails. Oh, she purrs like a kitten. Come on. Oh, you're a beauty. Ooh, I'm getting chilly from the air conditioner. Stop it. You got no clue what you're doing. Oh, that's lovely. your camera over. Holy cow, this thing is like trying to fly a spaceship. Look at this thing. Digital dash, controls, drivetrain. I'm used to pedals to steer or sticks to steer, and these things, this is all bucket controls here. Raise and lower and tilt, and this is just fancy pants. And throttle, check out the throttle. I thought it was the air conditioning knob. That's the throttle. Here's the air conditioning knob. Cigarette lighters, ashtray. Winch controls. What's this? Hey, come on around. Yeah, this is not going to be good for me. I'm going to tear up a lot of stuff with this, I believe. There may not be a blade of grass left on Red Jewel House by the time we're done this weekend. So what's the plan with this 30,000 pounds of testosterone? Well, there are 4 things I want to accomplish with this dozer. Number 1 is to prepare a spot right behind the barn where I've had this creek that's been coming down and kind of going through the area that I'd excavated last year, and be able to clear that up so it doesn't drain into that area. So I was going to actually cut an area that make it consolidate with the with an existing creek and build up an area and do some work there. Number 2 was to establish a good road, a quality road that keeps me from driving in the creek all the way back to the halfway point of our property where we want to have our retreat. My plan was, if I wanted to drive my Silverado back there, that's the kind of road I wanted to have. Obviously not graveled or paved yet, but in a dry season, if I wanted to drive back there, then I'd be able to do so. So I'd have to get the road out of the creek, put a culvert in so we could cross the creek at one point, and really work down the road in some areas. Number 3 was to repair the road on the South Ridge. There was a spot in that road where the ground had slipped. I'd actually done a video about that slip. I'll link to it here. And then there was another spot where the road was really washed out badly. In fact, that's where my tractor broke. I'll link to that video here. So if you go back and look at those videos, you can kind of see what I'm dealing with there. So the plan was to fix the areas that are washed out where I broke my tractor. So the plan is to fix the area there where I broke my tractor and open up the road where the slip is, and just kind of come all the way around so I could go all the way around my loop on the South Ridge and be able to come back to the barn. It starts at the barn and ends at the barn. And the plan there is eventually I want all of that inside that loop to be pig pasture. We'll break it up into different paddocks. That's a decent chunk of land. That's probably 20 acres that we're dealing with there. What am I on? 1, 2, 3. Number 4 was to open the road on the North Ridge. I have a loop up there as well. And I have a slip it slipped shortly after we had the place timbered 18 years ago. So it's broken my loop. I couldn't do the loop. I could only drive down to one spot and then come back, and then drive to another spot and come back. And eventually even this portion of the back of the loop washed out. So I was never able to do it. It was always a dead end. And if I have time, the 5th thing I'd like to do is, there's a spot up here. Actually, it's where it's in our pig pasture. It's just a spot where there's 2 flat benches that come together, but there's a big gulch, if you will, in between it. Just a little ravine, little canyon, whatever you want to call it. And I want to try to fill that in, clear out some of the trees, just open that up. Flat land is a premium here, so if I can get something mostly flat, then I've got an opportunity if I need to build another barn or a farrowing shelter or put pig huts, whatever the case may be. So that's the plan with the dozer, and we'll see how much we can get done. The weather is calling for rain all weekend, 80% chance, I believe. So we'll just see. We may have to dodge raindrops and take it from there. Well, I know one thing. If I was running a dozer professionally, I'd need some more experience. And I would also need a very good sports bra. Or stop eating bacon. This thing will jar your teeth out. So the first project I got done is cutting this stream and trying to get the barn in the shot for reference for those of you who've seen our video, but there's a post right here, and the creek used to come right down there, right behind the barn, and then when we came in and excavated, we rerouted it. Well, didn't do a very good job of rerouting it because actually you can see there's still a little bit of water here. It used to come right down through there, turn between the side-by-side and the dozer, and then just do a snake and go over the hill. So it was right in the middle of my road again. So that was an issue. But we have, if the sun glare is going to be bad here, but we have this watershed that comes down right here. And so instead of trying to put a ditch and culvert in for both of those, I thought, well, can I consolidate them? So what I ended up doing is lifting the road with all this overburden here in front of the dozer, build up the road quite a bit, and then we have a ditch cut, and I'll have to come back and put my pipe in. I haven't done that yet. That'll catch all that water and consolidate those two streams. Okay, if you can see me way back here, I'm standing right where the old creek came down off the hill and would just keep going straight. And now I came in with the dozer and cut this swath. And it was pretty fortuitous because there wasn't a lot of stone, but when I got down to the elevation I wanted to, I started hitting stone. So as the water comes rushing down and heavy rains, then it's going to erode some of this. But there's still a lot of stone here, so hopefully it won't erode too much. But you can see this ditch we've got. This was an old, called it my junk pile. It was an old asphalt pad. The people that owned the property before me had a mechanic shop here. There's car parts everywhere. And also unearthed a huge pile of tin that was buried below the dirt and debris and everything. So we'll have to figure out how to take care of that. So now I've got this ditch here, so it's going to come down all the way down to the camera, and it's going to consolidate these two watersheds. And you can see here on this side of the side-by-side how much I raised the elevation of the road. It looks like I raised it about 2.5 feet, because there's the electric fence, the step-in posts, all that was at ground height. In fact, that was a little bit higher because it had been wallowed out. This was always a muddy mess. So the plan is to take some of that poly pipe that I have, that Josh brought me, and we'll put that across right here. So the water will come down, collect a little bit, slow it down, and then of course put it across the road here so it can get into the main stream. All right, so step number 2, working on the road back to the retreat area, or back to the middle part of our property, was really going to be a big task. I thought it was going to take me all day Saturday just to do that. And actually it didn't. It went quite well. Again, really good help. I had my dad on the tractor. He was using the box scraper, so he'd come back. I'm not a good dozer operator, so the big chunks and big holes that I made, he'd come back and he'd fill them in with a box scraper and really dress it up so it looks a lot better. I'm not that good of a dozer operator, as good as this looks. But what I'm going to show you a video right now of how we used to get back to the retreat. And this video actually starts up at the house and kind of goes up around the pig pasture, comes down the road. And when it crosses the Stone Creek crossing is when it gets down into what I consider the valley floor area where the main road would be. And you used to have to drive through a whole bunch of mud and wallowed out spots, and then you drive down into the creek for a while, and then you come up out of the creek steeply and
and kind of mosey through a little clearing, and then through a couple low spots that always got muddy, and then up a real steep hill, and then down a steep hill to come into the retreat area. Well, we went back and started cutting there. In fact, I started at the back at the steep hill and worked my way forward. And man, you talk about hitting some stone. We hit some huge rocks. I was pulling out rocks the size of this side-by-side. And so it wasn't the most ideal. I didn't want to get in a situation where I unearthed a rock that I couldn't move. So I didn't cut that peak down as much as I'd like to have, but I've made it extra wide and did change the elevation on both sides. So what I couldn't cut down, I built up on both sides, so it flattened it out. So that was the video to what used to be to get us out there. And let's go for a ride. I'm going to put the camera here on the bumpers of the side-by-side, and we'll record the same thing. You can kind of see the difference there. So this new portion, or the portion that wasn't in the original video, is going right through the middle of my pig pasture. Kind of separates it. What's on my left is what I call the south pasture. What's on my north, of course, is the north pasture. So we just dressed up this road. It wasn't in very bad shape to begin with. We gave it a little dressing. And then here's the Stone Creek crossing. So this is where the old video would meet with the new. So we were able to expand this section of road quite nicely. We still have a spring. This spring is constantly putting out water. So still have to figure out what to do there. There's the road down to the creek. But now we have a brand new access. It's just a little bit higher than the creek. Gets us out of the creek quite a bit. And also have my 5-foot culvert in place. So it gives me a little bit of a hump to overcome, but it gives me the opportunity to drive right over that and stay high and dry. Ooh, I like that. We'll go up the road here. Another little tree I need to trim back. And was able to put this road on a continuous grade. So I don't have these low spots that where I was going to have to put culverts or pipes in. So now everything's on grade with a slant toward the hillside. So it's actually going to drain that way, hopefully, if my eyes aren't deceiving me, and really be able to keep the water moving in a certain spot and not make a bunch of low muddy spots. So here's the peak. The sun's going to be a little bit of a glare. Here's the peak that used to be much, much higher, and then now coming down the hill to the retreat. All right, so I left the approach to the actual meadow kind of steep because we're debating whether or not we're just going to put in a piece of pipe and not be very sexy, or build a bridge out of sawmill lumber. Again, if this is going to be an opportunity for people to come and hang out and enjoy the outdoors, then we want it to be as aesthetically pleasing as possible. So Kelly and I have been talking about building a bridge, so that left it kind of steep right here in this spot, so I could build an abutment and maybe just build a wide bridge out of some sawmill lumber. We definitely have some extra wood laying around. So so that's why I left the dirt there too, to do an approach. So it's dammed up a little. We want to try to slow down the water. Again, expecting a bunch of rains. We're trying to slow down a lot of this erosion to keep it from blasting through. But that's the new approach, and I am tickled to death with the way we're able to cut the road. Again, still, you can see here, still a little bit of an incline. I know this lens doesn't represent that very well. Maybe kind of show you the relief of the hill there. If you look in the trees, you can see how we were able to cut that and get it lower. But it's much, much wider. I used to have to come through here and duck limbs and everything in the side-by-side to keep from taking one upside the face. So this has really improved nicely. Well, one bonus task I was able to do is open up a road. This little side road I'm sitting on, this comes down from the retreat. You can see behind me the main area road from the retreat. Culvert goes that way. There was a little side trail that used to just be no more than a deer path, and it would wind up to my pistol range and get me at the same level of the house. So I've always wanted to have a road that way, so I don't have to drive all the way down the hill to the barn, up the middle of the valley, and then back, down to come back up. Man, if I could stay on that same elevation, that'd be a nice way to do that. But there was just a really steep section there of hillside that without a dozer, there's no way in the world I could do that with any of my equipment. So of course with a dozer, I had some time Saturday, thought I'd go ahead and do that. So I'll show you what that road looks like. Do a brief pause. See this stuff right here laying on the ground? This is 3-inch gas line, and it is all over my property. I had 9 active wells on this place at one time, not me, but previous owners. And the gas companies just lay this pipe everywhere on the ground. Of course it's defunct, at least I pray that it's defunct when I run through it with a bulldozer. But I have to sever it with the dozer, and man, you talk about a pain in the butt. It is everywhere. I've probably hit 20 different pipelines in cutting these roads and opening them back up. Some that I knew were there and some that I had no idea they were buried. All right, so here's what's really cool. This is a part of the land I never really had access to. You can see where the dirt moved down there. That's down in the valley. In fact, that's about where the road to the culvert is. The culvert should be about right there. So this was a nice little bench here that, decently flat for West Virginia, of course, but never had access to it. And then over here is what we refer to as the pistol range, or gun range, and it's through the trees. It's this area back here. You can see that walnut log laying down there. That's where the pistol range was. We'd fire into the hillside. Well, this area right here was a steep hill that we didn't have a road access to. So that was the plan, was to, of course, take the dozer and make a nice road access. So I think we've got that, because it is super smooth and easy to walk on. And again, this used to be hillside just like that, steep hillside. So we've got that open now. And again, I've got to put a pipe in here across my creek so it doesn't wash out. These streams only run when we have heavy rains, but when they do, they tend to take some dirt with them. So now, this ties back and actually will come out at the house. So we'll do that. Cutting that walnut down and taking it down with the dozer, but as I inspected it more, I realized it was full of barbed wire, so it had very little value to it as far as timber goes, and with the barbed wire it was causing it to die out in some places. You can see the strand of barbed wire there sticking out of it. I found so much barbed wire on this property. Barbed wire and gas line. I think they were hurting gas. So this just ties into my existing road that I have. Comes right past our little campfire area we like to hang out at. You'll have seen that in some of my videos there. So it just ties back in. So now I've got a shortcut to get back to the retreats. And again, access to a part of the property I've not had access to previously. So Saturday we were able to get a lot done. So got the area down around the barn, the creek cut, got the new road to the retreat, and even got the little side road back to the pistol range. So really excited about being able to get all that done. Really had a lot of help. It was great. I had my dad, I had Kelly's dad and my brother-in-law George, just guys helping out and just keep an eye on me while I was operating. Because again, I don't really operate a dozer much at all. This is probably my 4th time I've ever operated a dozer. But this dozer was definitely a Cadillac. And my buddy Josh, who let me use this dozer, said, with these type of dozers, these big ones like that, with all the bells and whistles on it, it's really easier to drive and easier to run because you can't hang it up as easy. It really is idiot-proof, and like driving a spaceship, all the digital dashboard and everything. But I really liked the controls. They were real intuitive. It was easy to figure that out. So I'm going to bust this video up into 2 parts because the second part, what we did today on Sunday, I want to be able to discuss in detail our plans for the pasture on the south side, and then the details of what we did on the north side. We had quite a bit of footage of that as well, because I didn't have everybody here, so Kelly helped me. She just followed along with me in the side-by-side as I was running the dozer, so it allowed us to be able to get more video there. But be sure to check us out Wednesday. We'll have part 2 of this. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to check us out on our website, redtoolhouse.com. Take care, everybody.